In the toil of thinking, in the serenity of books, in the messages of prophets, the songs of poets, and the wisdom of interpreters, in discoveries of continents of truth whose margins we may see, we delight in free minds and in their thinking. In the majesty of the moral order, in the faith that right will triumph, in the courage given us when we ally ourselves to truth in any form, in the privilege of being co-workers in good causes, we celebrate the unseen goals we share and serve. Let us build a world safe from war and oppression, free and satisfying, one that ultimately furnishes answers for us all. Please be seated.
Graduates, friends, family, good morning and welcome. I'm Kira Scarabaghi, the Dean of the Faculty of Community Services. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge the land that we're celebrating on today. Toronto is in the dish with one spoon territory. The dish with one spoon territory is a treaty between the Anishinaabe, the Mississaugas, and the Haudenosaunee that bound them to share the territory and protect the land. Subsequent Indigenous nations and peoples, Europeans, and all newcomers have been invited into this treaty in the spirit of peace, friendship, and respect. Class of 2022, it is so wonderful to be able to celebrate your academic achievements in person. I want to welcome all of you, the graduates, the families, the friends, the colleagues, and distinguished guests to this wonderful moment. A moment that captures enormous achievement and that sets the stage for exciting futures. Today, we have all come together to celebrate this moment. In so doing, we acknowledge the hard work that went into getting here. Every graduate earned their place amongst those we rely on for creating good, just, and caring communities and societies. We acknowledge and give thanks to those who supported our graduates, families, old friends and new friends, teachers and mentors. And we celebrate the new connections and relationships that formed during your time with us right here at Toronto Metropolitan University. This moment is about joy, excitement, laughter, perhaps a little relief too. We don't always know what comes next, but I'm confident that with the degree you earned, the connections you have made, and the confidence you have gained, you'll be ready to go out into the world and contribute to making it better for everyone. Congratulations, everyone. I'm proud to share this moment with you. To begin this very special day, I introduce you to the Chancellor of Toronto Metropolitan University, Janice Fukakusa.
Graduands, I am proud and very honored to be speaking to you today. Today is a time of very well-deserved celebration, and we share our pride in your success with everyone whose love and support has played a part in bringing you here today. At this stage of my remarks, I normally share a few pieces of advice with the graduating class. But after 2 years of the pandemic, I think it's you, the graduands, that should be giving us advice. So I'm not going to ask you all for advice now, but what I want to mention is that you went through such a remarkable experience and you endured and came through it and achieved your objectives, and you should be proud that you succeeded by facing and overcoming unforeseen barriers. And I hope you share your experience with others. And be proud of everything you've achieved. In fact, be proud of the impact that you will have in the months and years coming. And be proud and thoughtful about what you reflect on with respect to your achievements, because that reflection builds the confidence essential to overcome the inevitable challenges that you'll face in the years ahead. And remember, when you look back on your university experience, that you remember what you learned about yourself. That resilience means that you learn from your experiences, and determination will keep you focused on your dreams. After all of you have proven that you have the talent and drive to succeed. So on this special day of celebration, let me close by offering my congratulations and best wishes on your future journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Chancellor Fukakusa. Now please welcome the university's President and Vice Chancellor, Mohamed Lashemi.
Thank you, Dean. Welcome to our graduates, family and friends, colleagues from across the university and beyond. Class of 2022, this is an important day for you, and you have our warmest congratulations. You graduate at a milestone moment in history. Despite the challenges brought on by the pandemic, you remained committed to your studies, kept connected to your classes, and served your community in more ways than I can describe here. A milestone also because your graduating year will be forever linked to our historic name change. What has not changed from the day you choose to study here to the moment you cross the stage to accept your award are the values that define our university. And when you return as alumni, you will feel right at home. Class of 2022, the first graduating class of Toronto Metropolitan University, you helped shape this place. Now, both you and the university look ahead to a new chapter and a bright future. A future of promise and optimism, better prepared than ever to meet the challenges and opportunities ahead. This is your time. You have what the world is looking for: talent, energy, and new ideas. Your years here have prepared you for this moment. We are so very glad that you choose this university, that you immerse yourself in our university community. I hope you are feeling grateful for each other, for the good friends who shared your university experience and are now friends for life. Which brings us full circle. While we may find success as individuals, as a society, we depend on each other. We need loved ones. You have many today celebrating with you. We need colleagues. We need community. In French, you know, we never say goodbye. Instead, we say au revoir, which literally means until we see you again. Enjoy your very, very special day and stay close to your alma mater. For together, we will shape the future. Thank you very much, and I invite you now to please enjoy a short video.
Today marks a momentous moment in the story of your life. Just a few years ago, you began a new chapter. For some, that meant moving to a new city. For many, that meant discovering new perspectives. And for all, that meant opening your mind to new possibilities. Along the way, you were met with challenges unfamiliar to those who came before you and to those who follow. You embraced the responsibility of learning and unlearning, inspired by the people and places that played a part. Together, we evolved. While this chapter comes to a close, your story continues. Tomorrow, you'll remember this moment, not for who you were, but for who you have become. Today, we'll celebrate the diversity of your experience, your commitment to shaping a better future, and your part in our story. As the first graduating class of Toronto Metropolitan University.
It is my great privilege to introduce today's speaker. Sophia has been working with communities across the Greater Toronto Area and beyond to advance equity, inclusion, and human rights for African Canadian communities and other racialized communities. She serves as chair of the Ontario Regional Ethnocultural Advisory Committee, and she has launched a transformative multi-sector systemic change initiative in Peel Region to address the racial disproportionalities in child welfare. Amongst many others, Sophia has been honored with awards such as the Role Model Black Canadian Award, the Yuncitian Excellence in Diversity and Community Impact Award, the Legacy Award for Vision and Leadership in Community, the J.S. Woodworth Award for Human Rights and Equity, and the Fabulous Community in Action Award. Sophia is a champion of human rights and has spent a lifetime looking out for and mobilizing young people and their communities to fight for social justice. Please join me in welcoming Sophia Brown-Ramsey to deliver the Convocation address today.
Wow. I actually have to take a second because I'm looking at these faces and what I see is beauty. I see transformative, beautiful spirit looking back at me. So I thank you. I want to thank you so much for having me. I want to thank you so much for embracing my soul in your new place. I want to thank the faculty. I want to thank the Chancellor, the President, all the staff that has anything to do with this new place that you have created. You know, class of 2022, I know I stand here as one, but I come as 10,000. And for that, I must thank my ancestors, because it's their shoulders that I stand on today. But this has been a really interesting month for us. We have had the opportunity to acknowledge and show our honor and love for our communities, for our Indigenous brothers and sisters, where we just celebrated, honored, acknowledged their history. And for Juneteenth, my ancestors, for where we have left the trail of slavery, which actually never really leaves us, not until we have gotten to the place of real social change. Are you with me? Are you with me? Come on now. So I'm telling you right now, graduates, you've set yourself up with a great community. You're getting your letters today, I call it letters, from a place that understands the need to drive change. You're a part of a community and an institution that is open to the need of system change. And they're on the road to this new place we call equity, inclusion, and I see absolute diversity in this room. So let's think about a couple things. So when I got this invitation to come and just share space with you for a moment, of course I was elated. I'm completely honored. But you know, you think, what do you say? What do you bring? You know, you're gonna come here and you will hear so much of what you've heard before. And you're right, I am not telling you anything new, but I am going to do this. Graduates, there's some people in this room. There is some people in this room that has encouraged you, that has sat with you, some of whom used to change your diapers. But they've stood with you throughout the years, and they've sacrificed 1, 2, sometimes even 3 jobs so that you can sit here today, so that you can bring forth all of your talents, all of what you have to offer this world. And so I'm gonna ask you to do me a favor, right? I'm gonna ask you to do me a favor, and I want you to stand up and clap out your parent, your grandparent, your uncle, your auntie, your cousin, whoever it is that has stepped up for you. Because at the end of the day, here's what we know for sure. We are indeed stronger together. I think it was 44, President Barack Obama, who said, you cannot achieve anything big by yourself. Amen? You cannot achieve anything big by yourself. And for me, it really came alive for me when I sit down and I'm watching a movie. And the movie's, it's done, it's finished. And at the end, you see the credits rolling down, and you cannot believe for this 2 hours, the amount of people, the amount of talents that made this possible. So let me ask you, have you ever had that thought? Have you ever sat down and watched the credits and recognized that none of this is done alone by yourself, that you have somebody behind you? And are those people, your parents, your aunties, your uncles, these folks here that are the wind beneath your wings? They lift you and they carry you to the next place that you need to be. So today, for me, it's a special day because you are being crowned. You are being elated in a way, and I'm really trying to open my speech, so forgive me. You are being crowned here today for nothing, thank you so much, for nothing more than this gift, this talent, this resilience that you've brought to the table. Think about it. You have to be one of the most resilient class in history. And I know this is university, and so data is the key, but you don't even have to wait on data for this one. Look at what you've been through. COVID-19 has changed our lives. We have lost people, we have lost loved ones, but where are you today, class of 2022? You are right here, resilient, loving, giving. And so I'm gonna ask you to take all of what you've learned here in this institution, yeah? I'm gonna ask you to take every single thing that you've learned and give it back so you can walk through your destiny. So, here's what I have to say. Each and every one of you, as I look at you, have a light emanating from you. And there's going to become a time that folks might say, you're doing too much, you're not enough. But that light is going to shine. And if they have a problem with you having that light shine, invite them to put on their glasses, and both of you together, just bring it on. So I've only have a few minutes, but you know that life imitates art. They say that all the time. Life imitates art. And when we look back at this movie piece that I talked to you about, every time I see those credits, I think of every single person in my life that has something to do with me, and I invite you to do this for you, that we can accomplish so much more together, stronger together than by ourselves. Think of your parents, think of your grandparents, think of the cousin, think of that teacher, think of that professor, yeah? Think about the tribe that you have now created for yourself. I have a best friend, Roxanne Dino Brega, and I remember jumping out of my chair one day as I'm watching her first movie. She's a makeup artist to the stars, yes. Clap her out, she's somewhere here. And I remember jumping out of my chair because, you know what, I hadn't paid attention to the credits. Not until I saw my girlfriend's name. And knowing how much she and her team has put in to get that name there. And so you today have something in your hand. You will have this thing in your hand that no one can ever take away from you. It will not go bad, yeah? You don't have to put it in the fridge because the shelf life isn't, you don't have to do that. It'll always be there, but together with what you have to bring and that degree, you will move mountains. Two things I want you to do, though, and then I'll sit down and watch you walk across the stage. I want you to never dim that light. I want you to make sure that you do not shrink away from anything, yeah? That challenges will come. Difficult times will come. But I want you to think of my other best friend. Her name is Riva. Riva, when she was in medical school, and she lived in a very affluent part of New York, and she was someone, very good student, get up every day, she goes to school, she studies. We went on vacation. My girl Riva brought a huge book with her bikini on the beach. This is her. Okay, so she really was dedicated. So she came out of her flat one day, and on her door was human feces. On her car door was human feces. Because there were folks that she lived amongst that wanted to say, you, a black woman, you don't belong here. So Riva's telling me the story. I'm a student at McMaster. I am losing my mind. Reeve, what did you do? She was calm and very cool. She said, I went back in the house. I got a bucket of water. I got some paper towels. I got some Dettol. Some of you might know what that is. And some pine salt. And she went and she cleaned off her door, and she cleaned off her car. She put everything away because she's very neat, and she went to school. And I said, Reeve, how'd you do that? She says, look, There are things that's going to come that wants me to stop, that wants me to not walk into my destiny, but I will not allow that. And I offer that to you today. I offer that to you today. Step forward into your destiny. Class of 2022, take up your space. Take up your place. Because as it has been said on this stage, this is your time. This is your time. Young man, this is your time. Young woman, this is your time. Parents, you did well because this is their time. And for that, I, Sophia Brown Ramsey, I'm grateful to have this opportunity to have shared space with you. Do not forget who you are. You are absolutely enough. And never forget that as your light continues to shine, burn, really. Put your sunglasses on and walk in your grace and walk in your power. Thank you so much and congratulations.
You know, sometimes once is not enough. Let's do it again. For Sophia. Thank you. Thank you, Sophia, for those very inspiring words. As our graduates prepare to come forward, I will take this opportunity to request that you hold your applause until all graduates have crossed the stage. We do, however, welcome spontaneous outbursts of joy, enthusiasm, and even relief from family and friends. That's all part of the celebration. And the most important thing I'm going to say today, so that all graduates are celebrated equally, we ask that everyone please remain for the duration of the ceremony. I now ask to come forward and thank in advance Vice Provost students Jen McMillan.
Will the graduands please rise as you are able? Now just take a deep breath and let all that you just heard soak in for a minute. Chancellor Fukakusa, President Lashmi, Provost Simpson, honored guests, faculty members, staff, families, and friends of the graduands, I have the honor and pleasure to present graduands from Toronto Metropolitan University's Faculty of Community Services degree programs. Our graduands include those who are joining us for today's ceremony, as well as those unable to attend who are graduating in absentia. I certify that each has met the academic requirements for the awards they are about to receive, and that each has been duly approved by the university's Senate. Congratulations to each of you. Please be seated.
Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present candidates for the undergraduate degrees in the Faculty of Community Services. Bachelor of Applied Science, Occupational and Public Health, Occupational Health and Safety, Sadim Bilal. Faye Da Costa. Asma Fadul, with distinction. Wajiha Fatima Saeda, with distinction. Gabriela Ganau. Liliana Gorjuvelis. Harjeet Grewal. Osarunaman Imarhyagibe. Madison Lalonde. Cheryl Linkiko. Charmeen Mohidun. Lucia Namgoon. Vasula Fotopoulos. John Powers, with distinction. Thanusika Ramasamy. Samantha Rosario. Lauren Scarborough. Rafael Abule Tolentino, with distinction. Amarsha Uttayakumar. Emily Watling. Bachelor of Applied Science, Occupational and Public Health, Occupational Health and Safety Cooperative Program. May Balabel, with distinction. Nathan Doyle. Kyle Frame, with distinction. Faraya Hassan, with distinction. Olivia Kiak. Michael Lee, with distinction. Jacob Ovcharovich, with distinction. Naima Rahman. Veronique Sauvé. Carolina Witkowski. Bachelor of Applied Science, Occupational and Public Health and Safety. Ashley Abraham. Adenike Adeyemi. Trisha Alteza. Selena Ancoma, with distinction. Simona Kalapodescu. Elise Chenze. Sherlyn Chung. Sherlyn is also receiving a certificate in Occupational Health and Safety. Snigdha Churamani. Fatima Dabous. Sukhmoni Garha. Justina Gurgis. Justina is also receiving a certificate in Occupational Health and Safety. Tatiana Gricina. Syed Hamid, with distinction. Manur Hussain. Talia Kamran. Tuvaraka Keritaran. Tuvaraka is also receiving a certificate in occupational health and safety. Era Kojai. Ying Ying Liu. Rubab Malik with distinction. Tadiwa Nikati. Karen Nguyen. Werda Qureshi with distinction. Subrana Raman with distinction. Mariel May Salvador Malion. Chelsea Sicharan. Shamama Shireen with distinction. Shai Ray Tan with distinction. Gina Verma with distinction. Yasmin Wise. Zachary Walters. Zi Yi. Diana Zerafonitis. Bachelor of Applied Science, Occupational and Public Health and Safety Cooperative Program. Kiao Han Chow. Karen Huang with distinction. Karen is also receiving a certificate in occupational health and safety. Peter Tomasi with distinction. Bachelor of Applied Science, Occupational Health and Safety. Tuba Asif with distinction. Yarina Budenchuk with distinction. Julia Davidson with distinction. Ermias Nagatu with distinction. Danieth Price. Luis Rivera Wong with distinction. Manveer Sangha with distinction. Nin Tang. Kara White. Bachelor of Applied Science, Public Health. Ayutunde Alabi with distinction. Tanvir Bak with distinction. Tanis Bubelov with distinction. Bahara Esash with distinction. Ranveer Gill with distinction. Ghazal Harirfrush Rizai with distinction. Vanessa Ho with distinction. Raluchukwu Igidiogu with distinction. Claudia Jovanovski with distinction. Angelica Lee with distinction. Yukyin Michelle Liu with distinction. Lara Mendoza with distinction. Fatia Kabir Mim with distinction. Nikolai Nikolov with distinction. Merceline Oseze with distinction. Simran Pada with distinction. Michelle Payne with distinction. Megan Pakelny with distinction. Kajina Ravindran, with distinction. Rachel Saboran, with distinction. Tajinderpal Singh, with distinction. Sylvia Suleiman, with distinction. Mehina Varatarasa, with distinction. Bachelor of Social Work, Social Work. Tanya Abraham, with distinction. Justika Ajete. Tiwa Lalua Akimolayan, with distinction. Taylor Alfaro. Maisha Ali, with distinction. Marine Elvi. Thuvaraha Umbalavaini. Britnika Amir Thanathan, with distinction. Mahesha Amartha Sivam. Rhonda Andal, with distinction. Lethusha Anton. Ria Aurora. Ria is also receiving a certificate in community engagement, leadership, and development. Samantha Atkinson. Kalechelvi Atputalingam. Zara Badin, with distinction. Zunaira Bag, with distinction. Marley Baker Wright, with distinction. Maria Barajas. Zoe Barnes, with distinction. Rida Batul. Rochelle Bellarmino. Casey Boadu Inti. Jody Bosley, with distinction. Shanice Busby James. Nicole Cadivida, with distinction. Elizabeth Chen, with distinction. Hyunjin Cho, with distinction. Julia Kokomile, with distinction. William Cook. Sinead Coombs. Amanda Coughlin. Brianna Danilov, with distinction. John DeCuto. Antonella Dean, with distinction. Antonella is also receiving a certificate in community engagement, leadership, and development. Marina D. Oliveira, with distinction. Nuha Duma, with distinction. Asia Denani, with distinction. Cassandra Dorzak, with distinction. Zoe Eliopoulos. Dareen Fatima, with distinction. Cole Fawcett with distinction. Atifa Fazl with distinction. Joel Figueredo with distinction. Rachel Flores with distinction. Kyra Flynn Anderson with distinction. Lori Galuzzo with distinction. Mary Gangasingh. Satrani Gani Kasim. Luam Gebraselassie with distinction. Ilona Golovin. Ashley Gonsalves with distinction. Ashley is also receiving a certificate in community engagement, leadership and development, and a certificate in mental health and addictions. Brian Gonsalves with distinction. Selena Gonzalez. Kiana Guianan Snell with distinction. Hamza Gulma with distinction. Lydia Hanna. Sarah Himati. Sarah is being congratulated on stage by their father, Ali Himati, an engineering specialist from the Department of Chemical Engineering. Tay Huang with distinction. Katie Hucklebridge with distinction. Samantha Hui. Alvia Hurlington. Maria Jaffer with distinction. Maria is also receiving a certificate in community engagement, leadership, and development. Anna Yakubiak with distinction. Carolina Yakubiak with distinction. Adam Jefford. Sarah Joda with distinction. Nadia Joahir. Kulthum Katsi. Juliana Karabchich with distinction. Velika Ketwaru. Anna Louise Kidd with distinction. Gyeong-suk Kim. Patricia Kotruliotis with distinction. Jessica Christie with distinction. Nastasia Simonida Kristik with distinction. Hannah Kurtz with distinction. Alexandra Labargue. Pansy Lai with distinction. Shelley Shiyan Lam with distinction. Michelle Liegsma. Jennifer Lee with distinction. Ying Tao Yentul Yang with distinction. Amanda McKinnon with distinction. Keyshawn Malachi. Brianna Malcolm. Amon Malhi with distinction. Dafina Maloku with distinction. Melanie Maria Penn. Spencer Marley. Molly McGregor. Rosanna Messina Dominguez. Lamia Mia. Jasreen Minhas with distinction. Martina Marigello with distinction. Khadija Mohammed Azam with distinction. Natalie Morrison with distinction. Michaela Nagel with distinction. Allison Nodden. Mirabelle Obazi. Larissa Obediente with distinction. Joshua Ortiz. Selena Pacheco with distinction. Roberta Palmer with distinction. Urja Patel with distinction. David Patrick. Riley Patton with distinction. Angelica Pireno. Elise Perez with distinction. Aisha Karashi. Saima Rahman. Yalda Rajabi. Amanda Rago with distinction. Danielle Reynolds with distinction. Emma Robers with distinction. Jared Ross with distinction. Isabella Rossett. Daniela Sanchez. Willem Sande with distinction. Emma Savick. Yolanda Sheffer with distinction. Grace Seedhouse with distinction. Zhang Kin Shen with distinction. Nicole Shillingford Grell with distinction. Matthew Seamus with distinction. Harija Sivakumar. Sydney Solomon with distinction. Estefania Sukau with distinction. Sumaya Saeed with distinction. Karina Tam. And Noja Davaraja. Sarah Thickett with distinction. Simone Thomas with distinction. Lauren Uri. Milena Valle. Kim Vo. Lisa Washbrook with distinction. Lisa is also receiving a certificate in community engagement, leadership, and development. Shani Watson with distinction. Jenna Wetterauer with distinction. Kyle Williams with distinction. Laura Wilson with distinction. Wei Wu. Bachelor of Urban and Regional Planning, Urban and Regional Planning. Abdirahman Adam. Malcolm Adejobi. Eli Ahajan with distinction. Dina Al-Mitwali with distinction. Amrita Anpalagan. Graham Asquith. Inara Awadia. Chad Berry. Stuti Bat. Holly Batrimes with distinction. Francesco Caparelli. Kiana Trina Castro with distinction. Stephanie Chan with distinction. Frederick Chang with distinction. Cameron Chin. Alessandro Coletta. James Davidson with distinction. Daniel Della Torre. Mansell Drummond. Emma Estevez Pereira with distinction. Mobeen Ghaffari with distinction. Grace Gong with distinction. Madrid Ginto. Bilen Habtit. Spencer Healy. Ella Henning. Michael Iani. Atavan Jayamohan with distinction. Harlina Jita with distinction. Connor Joy with distinction. Nicholas Klimshu with distinction. Andrew Lamb. Duong Tu Tina Lee with distinction. Eric Lee. Caitlin McDonald with distinction. Mabel Mai, with distinction. Emily Majid, with distinction. Nicholas Malta, with distinction. Courtney Mark. Laura Matthews, with distinction. Victoria Matsko. Derek McMurdy. Davin Metharal. Addison Milne Price, with distinction. Zulal Mohammed Rafiq. Bilan Mohammed. Lily Morel. Christian Nacarado. Cheyenne Okovat. Amar Osmani. Anish Pandey, with distinction. Georgia Papworth, with distinction. Shannon Peck. Ulysses Perkunder, with distinction. Kara Pollack. Amana Rahal, with distinction. Sakshi Rayar. John Paul Regakos. Abigail Sabayo, with distinction. Joyce Sandoval, with distinction. Ahmad Shahid. Arjan Singh. Harjap Singh. Chenzi Tang. Hil Ching Tang. Thomas Tingjalern, with distinction. Benjamin Trong. Roslyn Vijayakumar. Jordan Wallace. Natalia Wenglass. Joyce Wu, with distinction. Vivian Yap, with distinction. Syed Marwan Yar Mohammed. Yvonne E., with distinction. Kobe Young. Patrick Utiga, with distinction. Bethel Zacharias, with distinction. Sina Zakaria. Maxine Edwards. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present candidates for the graduate degrees in the Faculty of Community Services. Master of Social Work, Social Work. Vianne David. Nicholas Guresi. Amanda Holahan. Fabian Mosquera. Sarel Sheldon. Master of Planning, Urban Development, Anne Benaroya. Julia Bevacqua. Marienka Bishop Kovac. Victoria Blake. Sanyo Chand. Vanessa Cipriani. Ethan Crow. Adam Dalla. Alexander Gambin. Sarah Giacomantonio. Michelle Goodmanis. Scott Cruz. Erica Leclerc. Brittany Livingston. Dustin McDonald. Cameron McCoy. Jean-Francois Obregon Murillo. Federico Palacios. Lindsay Parsons. Rebecca Tom. Javis King Wo Wan. Lauren White. Madam Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of today's graduates.
Hello, Toronto Met grads. I'm Jen McMillan, Vice Provost students, and I'm so excited to share this moment with you. After years of hard work and great memories, you finally made it to the finish line. Congratulations on this huge accomplishment. I know you have a lot of family and friends in your corners too, people who supported you when you needed it most and who cheered you on at every milestone. Whether they are near or far, they are celebrating you today and no doubt incredibly proud of your achievements. I hope you feel that your degree not only represents what you learned in the classroom, but how you made the most of your time here. You worked hard, tackling assignments, studying for exams, and balancing jobs, but also played hard, joining clubs, making athletics history, and becoming student leaders. While some of you might have grown up close by, many of you spent hours on a plane to get here, and that's the beauty of this place. We're a community made up of people from all around the world who found a second home at TMU. So take all of your experiences, your successes and learnings, and dive into every opportunity that lies ahead. Grow the network of friends you've built here and help one another thrive in new spaces around the world. I hope you keep getting involved, keep speaking up, and keep living out loud because this world needs you, just as you are. Do you hear me? It needs you, and I'm so happy we could help you on your way. Congratulations again.
When I moved here to go to university, I was, this kid in this big, intimidating city, and this place just felt like home to me.
And I knew immediately, having just come from Jamaica, that that was the place for me.
I spent 3 years here. These are still the best 3 years of my life.
One of the fondest memories that I had was being here at 1, 2 in the morning. You're leaving at around 3 a.m., but it didn't matter because you were doing what you loved.
My fondest memory at the university was the day I graduated. Dr. G. Raymond Chang, our previous chancellor, was handing it off to me. I remember when I got up to that stage, I whispered over to him, "I'm Jamaican as well. I'm so proud to have you as my chancellor." And we giggled.
Interaction with meeting students from all over the world, interaction with my instructors of the day.
My fondest memory was getting a husband.
The warmth, the camaraderie, the buildings were so friendly.
During my 8 years as president of the university, I officiated at well over 50 convocations. My fondest memory really was to see the students coming across the stage, to see their families excited with them, and to see so many of the students who are graduating be the first in their family to get a degree.
And it's all true. Yes, thank you. It's not fluff.
Just before we proceed with the planned part of the program, I just want to acknowledge something. As you were walking across the stage, I looked at you, and I realized that while we have thanked you, the graduates, and while we have thanked you, the parents, in many cases, you, the graduate, and you, the parent, are the same person. And I want to take a moment and acknowledge how proud you make us, how proud you make your children, how proud you make our communities for demonstrating that no matter what stage of life, no matter what's going on, you're here, you can do it. That really is something to be acknowledged. So I thank all of you who are graduates, who are caregivers, who are parents, who walked across this stage, in one case with a beautiful, beautiful child. Thank you for that. The university's gold medal is awarded to one undergraduate student in each faculty. Nominees must have demonstrated outstanding involvement with the university, within the university, their profession, or their community, and also have demonstrated their academic proficiency. I am pleased to announce that occupational and public health graduate Karen Huang is the recipient of the university's gold medal for the Faculty of Community Services. Karen was an excellent student, achieving a very high CGPA throughout the cooperative program in which she was enrolled. This included an excellent capstone project which has been submitted for peer-reviewed publication. She also had a huge extracurricular presence, including being part of the Program Advisory Committee and the Course Union. Karen made a significant impact on the program and the life of the students. In all, Karen exemplifies the best of the university, a scholarly student who excelled both in and outside of the classroom. I invite Karen and President Lashmi forward for the presentation of this award. Now please welcome Provost and Vice President Academic Jennifer Simpson.
Welcome. It's so good to be here with all of you today and in person. Again, my name's Jennifer Simpson. I'm the Provost and Vice President Academic at Toronto Metropolitan University and started just a year ago, so it's my first celebration with all of you as well. You have arrived at this day, at this celebration, and at this accomplishment. Once again, congratulations to each of you. As we bring today's convocation ceremony to a close, we can take a moment to reflect on the sacrifices and successes that have led to this moment. You've had endless study sessions and all-nighters dedicated to finishing projects and to getting through tough exams. You've had extracurricular activities to balance with a demanding academic schedule. And all of this on top of a global pandemic that pushed and challenged you in unimaginable ways. Consider also the incredible things you have gained along the way. Cherished memories at varsity games and campus events to reminisce about with lifelong friends. And hopefully a lifelong appetite for learning that will fuel your growth in the years ahead. Every day in completing your degrees, you showed up, you persevered, you asked tough questions, you challenged the status quo, and you triumphed. This is a day of well-deserved celebration for you and your families. In many ways, you are all standing at the beginning of your own next chapter. It's likely that you'll have moments of excitement, of frustration, and of self-doubt ahead. I certainly did. It was about a year after I was sitting where you're sitting now that I was finishing up an internship, and I didn't know what I was going to do next. Was I going to apply for more school, graduate school? Was I going to look for another job? And I was overwhelmed. I had to make a decision and figure things out quickly. And what I decided to do at that moment, and I still don't know why, is I thought, I'm going to reach out to a professor. And I hadn't been in touch with any of my professors for that year. But I reached out, and the first thing that was amazing was he was so glad to hear from me. We'll be glad to hear from you. And the words he told me over 35 years ago, I still remember. He said, Jennifer, whenever you can, I hope that you follow your heart. That's what we hope for you as well. You know, we see that those of us who have the privilege to be on the stage, we see you cross. Each and every one of you are so much yourselves. Already I can see it. I don't know you well. But we hope you hold on to your own passions and commitments in your hearts. And we hope you reach out to us because we'll be so excited to hear from you. We also hope that you can continue to ask questions, to keep learning, and to stay open. I'll also, as many of us have, acknowledged today the family members and friends who have helped all of our graduates along the way. Your support from family and friends who are here in the room and also in other places today has been incredibly important to each one of our graduates, and you have contributed to their success in incalculable ways. So let's give a thanks to all of our family and friends here today. So again, to the graduates, good luck and congratulations. I want to reinforce one really important idea, that by completing your journey here, you will always be part of the Toronto Metropolitan University family, an ever-growing group of passionate people doing remarkable work in every corner of the world. Good luck with all of your future endeavors. We look forward to what each of you will contribute to our shared future. Thanks again.
I would like to thank all the staff, the volunteers, and faculty here today who helped make this ceremony a wonderful experience for all. Graduates and guests, once again, congratulations from everyone at the university. I hope you continue to enjoy this very special day. But first, if you can, please rise and join Catherine Rohn from the Office of the Dean and the Faculty of Arts in the singing of our national anthem. Following the anthem, please remain standing until all of our graduates have left the arena. Thank you for celebrating with us today.